You're listening to Reap So, dispatches from the front lines of food, farming, and the environment. I'm your host, Teresa Katsourelis. California's Central Valley is an agricultural powerhouse. It produces an estimated 25% of the nation's food supply. And if it weren't for this one massive feat of engineering, a lot of those farms might not exist at all. You see, California transports water to its Central Valley farmers through this complex network of reservoirs, aqueducts, and canals. This water system is controversial, and without constant maintenance, it also might collapse. Fern contributor Lisa Morehouse just published a great story on some of the unsung heroes who keep the valley's water flowing. She produced it in collaboration with our friends at KQED's California Report magazine. I'll let their host, Vanessa Rancaño, take it from here.
You see these signs on the side of the road in the Central Valley, where I grew up, that say, "Food grows where water flows." The system of canals and reservoirs that feeds the farmland there is one of the biggest in the world. But to me, it was kind of always just part of the landscape. Irrigation canals crisscross Modesto, my hometown. My house was a block from one, and I grew up with Splasher the Frog on TV warning me not to swim in them.
You may be brave, you may be a daredevil, but you're not stupid. So stay away from canals. They're just too dangerous.
People dump all kinds of stuff in there. Lots of shopping carts, but I've seen furniture, even toilets. I never really thought about who cleans and maintains those canals or the dams that feed this irrigation system. But reporter Lisa Morehouse has. For her series California Foodways, she takes us to Colusa County to learn all about the unusual job that keeps the water flowing.
We're at the edge of the Sacramento River across from the town of Princeton. There's a trailer full of equipment and a bunch of loud generators and pumps. But the real work, it's happening out of view. The only clues are some bubbles on the water's surface and something that sounds like walkie-talkies.
So the diver just went in. He's in the water. We're about to fire up this pump.
That's John Eggleston of Big Valley Divers. Their trailer is a combination workshop, changing room, storage area, and high-tech communications office. His teammate, Mark Beals, is underwater. John's listening and checking in.
Okay, jets fired and running?
Yep.
Roger that.
He and 3 other guys on this team, they're doing seasonal work at this pump station that's about to supply irrigation canals across the region with water. Specifically, they're prepping fish screens.
We're working on fish screen structures that keep the fish fry and endangered species of fish from getting drawn into the irrigation systems and distributed into the farmlands. So this is a protective system that they have on the river to ensure that we are protecting endangered species.
His younger brother, Jeff, explains the job of a fish screen a little more plainly.
And it protects the fish, keeps fish from getting sucked up against the pumps.
They're here for a week, opening up the pumps for summer. Imagine homeowners preparing for a hurricane, boarding up their windows. All winter, these fish screens have been covered with steel plates called blanks. Blanks protect the screens from big debris that flows down the river after winter storms, like trees. Now that farmers need the water, the divers will remove those blanks and let water flow through the screens. Step 1, clean up months and months worth of sediment from those blanks to make them easier to remove.
Roger that, starting to get suction.
Yes, here it comes.
John's wearing a baseball cap, has a neatly trimmed goatee, and even though he's working outside and with a lot of equipment, there's not a speck of dirt on his t-shirt. He explains that right now, Mark is underwater working with 2 powerful hoses.
Yep, she's getting angry. Yep, she's angry.
I think you're good at time. So now he has a water pressure system in his hand and a suction system. One is breaking the material up, one is drawing the material away.
Like power washing and vacuuming simultaneously. I never knew this kind of work existed, but John tells me commercial divers are everywhere. Picture contractors and construction workers just underwater. Anywhere there are lakes and rivers, anywhere we've manipulated water, like dams and canals, commercial divers work on the infrastructure, cleaning, maintaining, building, repairing. They work on potable water, drinking tanks.
Divers enter and we do inspections and cleaning.
They work in marinas, installing structures and repairing moorings.
Then we work on salvage, so we recover boats and cars and semis and whatever ends up in the water.
They work in hydroelectricity on dams. Most of their work is in irrigation. But how does a guy who grew up hundreds of miles from the ocean get into this work? For John, diving is a passion his dad passed down.
He grew up in Oxnard, and when he was about 18, he became a scuba diver. So he was diving down in Southern California.
Not too long after the self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, scuba, came onto the market. The family moved to the landlocked Sacramento Valley when John was 3, and they explored swimming holes and rivers to beat the heat. 5 years later, his dad taught him to dive in Butte Creek, a small tributary to the Sacramento River.
And he brought me to Butte Creek and put an air supply on my back and just said, go have fun. And, those first moments were just awe-inspiring to see the different species of fish and crawdad and salamanders and be part of the environment, just enjoying freedom underwater. I mean, that's what he taught me. It was just one of those life-changing experiences for me, and then I just followed with it as a passion.
He practiced near the Po Dam east of Chico, getting used to a wetsuit and fins, diving 20, 30, 40 feet. Soon, his brother Jeff joined in. Jeff shows me a picture of the two of them at Po Dam when they were kids.
I think I was like 5 and he was 10 there or something.
So he taught you how to swim?
Yeah, John taught me how to swim. Yeah. Taught me how to dive, everything. Taught me how to not get in trouble when I was a teenager. Taught me a lot in life.
When John started thinking about careers,
scuba diving was the closest thing to my heart. It's what I enjoyed about life. It's where I felt free.
So he took the required courses, documented hundreds of hours underwater, got certified as a diving contractor, and worked as a commercial diver. He and his brother bought this company 10 years ago.
Coming up on diver.
It's time for lunch, so the 3 guys on the surface pull up hoses as the diver, Mark, emerges.
Take a little break.
They tell stories. John apologizes in advance for any swearing, and Mark cracks the first of many jokes.
We have a sailor accent with the construction dialect.
I ask about some of the things they've discovered underwater. They once found a sword.
We've had knives, we've had guns, we've had lots of fishing poles, lots of lures, washing machines and toilets.
I was crawling inside a box out in the Humboldt Bay. I was all inside. Oh, there's some silky mud in here. When we pulled it out, it was a poop tank for a houseboat.
So what are you doing here?
So now I'm prepping my helmet.
I'm claustrophobic, so I'm eyeing this diving helmet skeptically. It's a tight-fitting globe with a clear lens to see out of.
So you can see a lot.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no.
No.
No, I just want you to hold it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, hold on.
You're going to want 2 hands.
You hold the mic. I'm holding on to the Oh, Jesus!
40 pounds.
What's on your shoulders?
Climbing
On
ladders.
your neck.
Oh, my
And then
God. Wait, and how heavy is this?
40 pounds.
And so I'm starting to get a sense of the weight of this work. After the break, John will join Mark underwater. It's his first dive of the day, and his brother Jeff helps him gear up.
Use those chains as ankle weights to keep your feet down.
Stainless steel chain. We'll wrap them around our ankles so that we don't float up. Jeff, you have air to this hat?
Yep.
They tape together 5 different lines into what they call the umbilical.
The umbilical is the air supply, water supply, strength member, communication line, and the depth gauge. I have my hot water.
Oh, this is the hot?
Hot water.
Woo!
Yeah, it's like a jacuzzi when you're in the water.
To keep you warm and focused on your job all day.
Because how cold is the Sacramento right now?
Right now it's about 43 degrees.
Chilly.
Chilly, yes. And that's on the surface of the water. Down deeper, it's high 30s probably.
They tell me they each go through a wetsuit every 6 months. The knees give out first.
Yep.
And then you have to have work boots that
Yep.
are underwater.
Steel toe. So in the water, it's your suit, your gloves, a knife, a wrench, a bailout, helmet, neck dam. That's a minimum to get in the water, which is about 80 pounds of weight.
And what he's calling a bailout is what scuba divers usually have as a tank on their back. Only in emergencies or a bailout situation that we have a standby air supply.
They actually have 4 sources of air.
4-time redundancy, just to make sure.
And John is kind when I say the most obvious thing. Water is powerful.
Yes, absolutely. The most powerful thing on Earth, really.
The whole time I'm with the team, I'm acutely aware that this is potentially dangerous work. I can see the camaraderie, the trust between these 4. Terrence Apel is the new guy on the team, just 2 years. John and Jeff are brothers, and they've worked with Mark for 15 years. John joins Mark underwater to continue cleaning the fish screens and blanks. On the shore, Terrence manages the umbilicals and pumps, and Jeff monitors the communications.
I'm monitoring his air, making sure that his air is good. I'm listening to the divers and then relaying anything that they need to everybody else. A lot of times when we're in here in the mud, it's just your visibility's gone. You can't see anything. So everything's by feel.
Right here, Jeff, you can start to see the accumulation of sand.
When visibility is good enough, they record video so the guys above water can watch the action in real time and their clients can see the work later.
The corner of the blank right there. Go ahead and pan up a little bit.
I'm getting the sense that for these guys, water is where they're most comfortable. John, who's been kind of formal, is looser now that he's underwater, even cracking jokes.
So that's pretty much it, just down here blowing bubbles.
And now he remembers a story he wants to tell me.
You want to tell her right now?
Yeah.
Okay, roger that, go ahead.
Okay, Lisa, I was about 16 years old.
He's a teenager at the Po Dam. His family and girlfriend are there too.
It was one of my deep dives, 40 feet deep. Making my way down, I start to see what looks like a child. I can see the sunlight piercing through the water. It's illuminating, what looks to be a small child.
He thinks he sees a child, a baby down below. So he starts circling, diving deeper, and he decides to go to it and bring it up.
I grab a hold of it and start kicking my way up. I get to the surface of the water, and I lift it up and out of the water, and I hand my girlfriend a teddy bear. And there's a teddy bear that...
A teddy bear.
I remember that.
One way or another.
Later, when John's out of the water, I ask why he only remembered that story when he was diving.
That's the way diving works. Your whole life goes through your head when you're out there. All we're doing is just down there working, but you have time.
Diving's such a big part of their identities. Mark has tattoos of tridents, Poseidon's fishing spears, on his arms. Jeff says when he was recovering from back surgery and unable to dive, he dreamed about being underwater.
Crane's here.
Crane's there?
Yep.
I come back to the worksite at the end of the week to watch the final step in the process. Remember picturing windows that get boarded up for a hurricane and then those boards get removed? Today, the divers are working with a crane operator to take off those heavy steel blanks from the fish screens and get water flowing to the pumps. Jeff's diving today. The crane lowers 4 cables into the water, and he attaches 1 cable to each corner of the blank.
Okay, left upper hooked up. Right upper hooked up. Diver clearing.
Roger that, clearing.
Roger. Okay, diver clear. Go ahead.
Coming up.
The crane lifts the blank into the air and carries it to the surface.
Pull.
where the other guys guide it safely onto the riverbank.
Yeehaw, Jeff.
After all the blanks come off and Jeff emerges from the water, it's the moment of truth. The pump station operators turn on air compressors and water flows through the screens and starts to churn in the river. Soon, these divers will be on to their next location, doing the largely unseen work it takes to keep water moving into farmland.
Reporter Lisa Morehouse is traveling to every one of the state's 58 counties for her series California Foodways. This story was produced with support from the Food and Environment Reporting Network. And that's it for the California Report magazine. Our senior editor is Victoria Mauleon. Susie Racho is our director-producer. Our engineer is Brendan Willard. Lucen Mendel is our intern. I'm Vanessa Rancaño. Sasha Coca will be back next week. You can catch all of our California stories on our podcast, the California Report magazine. Your state, your stories.
Reap So is a production of the Food and Environment Reporting Network. Our executive producers are Theodore Ross, Tom Laskaway, and Brent Cunningham. Our sound engineer is Lauren Newson. I'm your host, Teresa Katsourelis. Special thanks to the California Report magazine for their work on this episode. To listen to more California Report magazine stories, check them out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Find out more about Fern and donate to support our independent nonprofit reporting at www.thefern.org.